So Rajiv, what's up?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet our guests. I would definitely love to connect with you offline.
There are no
on
guests.
LinkedIn.
Everybody's a member today.
Oh, really? Oh, well, in that case,
You may not have met Nikki, but go ahead.
Right. So if I haven't met either Christina or Veronica, I'd love to connect and get better acquainted so that we can explore synergies and figure out the amazing things we can do together. Okay. That being said, I work in reputation management. And think of reputation management as a yin-yang combination, where the yin is propagating the good and the yang is removing the bad. So propagating the good means helping clients realize outcomes that include being seen prominently on Google, like being seen either on the top of Google, all of Google, or Facebook or YouTube, basically any platform that you go to search for. And we help clients realize those kind of extreme outcomes if they have extreme budgets to go with that extreme outcome or goal. And then on the flip side, the yang part of it, which is deleting the bad, is we help clients by deleting misinformation and private information from Google. So misinformation could be either bad press, bad reviews, things like that, scandals, and the like. And private information basically means your private information, your name, your address, your demographics, who you're married to, who your siblings are, all of that, your records, arrest record, bankruptcy record, whatever records there are to have. If you'd like all that sealed or deleted from Google, then we're the person to do that for you. And this is kind of like a true story in the sense that a client reached out who was in the job market and it was a high six-figure job offer. The employer retracted the offer thinking she's a criminal because when they Googled her, they saw someone that looks like her, same first name, and that person that showed up has a criminal record. So they retracted it, the job offer, and then she hastily reached out to saying, help, can you please get that junk deleted because this is causing confusion. And we did, and we did it really fast too. And that's how she was able to salvage the situation. So that's an example of misinformation. It's not that Wall Street Journal alleged that she defrauded someone. It's just that a site like People Finder or Truth Seeker or Adaris or sites like that published something, and unfortunately it was connected to her Google search. So that's an example of how we help clients and help to turn their life around. We offer a performance guarantee, which means that if the outcome is not realized in a forecasted time frame, 60 to 90 days, they get a refund. So it's very simple, straightforward, transparent, and yeah, that's what we're known for. My ask is, if you know anyone that's dealing with these issues, please reach out. Thank you.
Love it when you tell a story. That's great. By the way, it really brings it to life. Nikki, you're next. I put everybody on mute because I go to a speaker view, and if there's any noise coming from another speaker, it highlights them. Nikki, you're up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki Fielding. I'm the president of Digital Brand Expressions. We're a 20-year-old, one of the oldest and best SEO companies in the country. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary in December. We're focused on helping clients that are already doing search and social, and they need to quantifiably improve the performance of those programs. So we're basically a sought after solution for companies who know they need help, and they know it, they've been doing this long enough to know their own numbers. So we come in and we help them improve the performance of their search engine and social media marketing programs. So my ask is that if you run across a company that needs that type of help, let me know. We walk our clients through a very structured process to show them, get a sense of what they want to do, what they're doing, what their competitive environment looks like. We can rebuild the programs that need reconstruction, And then we could either turn the programs back over for ongoing management to an in-house team. Sometimes it's to another agency. We instruct them on what to do, and then we can remain consultants. And we also will provide ongoing agency retainer services for clients that are highly aligned with us. So the ask is, if you have clients who have those needs, let me know. We pay a 10% referral fee for the first year's income we earn on the account. If my team upsells the account, you get 10% of whatever we're earning. So just keep that in mind as you are out there doing your thing.
Can you give us an example of how you've taken somebody from X to Y, hopefully moving it up?
Sure. Again, we do search engine and social media marketing, organic and paid. But one of our stories is there's a company called Medicube, and they have a device that originally was designed for people with Alzheimer's. It's a robot that sits on your countertop and can dispense up to 16 prescription medications a day. There's an app that ensures that the patient is staying on schedule. If mom or dad forget to take a dose, they as the patient get an alert, but the caregiver also gives an alert. They were working with a very well-known agency on the West Coast, and the agency told them, you're not spending enough, we can't make this work for you, you don't have a market. They had every excuse in the book. They heard about DBE, they heard about our approach. We came in, and within 2 months, we had a 600% return on ad spend. Their business is going through the roof. Their investors are investing more. It's going like gangbusters, and that is just a typical DBE story. So when a client knows their numbers, we come in and we figure out their marketplace.
I want to get that a 600%
return on ad spend. Yep, our ROAS. Yep.
ROAS. Wow. And that was when you say ad spend, so it was search engine marketing?
That one was search engine advertising. Yep. But we do that with everything we do, whether, if it's SEO, we're getting them the rankings that are getting them the traffic that buys. If we're doing paid social, same kind of situation. It's a different type of marketing, but, we work really hard at the beginning to set realistic goals. That's part of our success story. So if a client wants something and they're not spending to achieve that, we'll say, here's as much as you can get based on what you're spending, or the other levers. There's lots of levers to pull. I don't want to bore you all, but it's fascinating. And I hire people who, this is what they love to do. It's not what I love to do. I love to do what I'm doing right now, but I hire people who would be horrified if I asked them to sit on a phone call or a Zoom call. But they're happy making things work for others, so it's great.
Veronica, do you, maybe I missed this, do you have a sweet spot in terms of size of customers?
No, not in terms of size of customers. They just need to be doing sophisticated search engine and social media marketing when we come into it. So, if they've been running the program for a few years and they know their numbers, we can have a conversation. Okay. We also don't specialize by industry because we're so focused on the channels. So part of our process is we're very fast learners, and we know what questions to ask to really get to the heart of things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes marketers, other marketers will be a little frustrated at first because they're very creative and they want to focus on the creative aspects of what we all do. But that's not where we make the magic happen. But once they learn to trust what we're doing, they're floored by the results.
And you mentioned that you have a revenue share option. Do you also have a white label option?
No, we don't white label because a lot of what we're doing is very detailed consulting, and white label just never works for that.
Love that piece behind you. Okay, let's see.
The Pottery Barn desk.
Is it Pottery Barn?
For my alter ego that's writing a novel, yes. I just spin around and
work on the novel.
Become the other me.
When's it coming out?
Oh, yeah, that's a question I'd like to know as well.
Publishers knocking on your door.
Christina, I wish. I wish. It's very exciting, though. It's a very exciting piece. I'll share more when I feel like I'm in a place to share. But yeah, it's 66% done.
Put your contact info in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, and DBE, by the way, is Digital Brand Expressions. If you want to look up.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, probably if you look up the word expressions, that will be easier to find because digital and branding or brand are very commonly used in our among our network members. Okay, so Christina, then Ken. Christina, you're up.
Hi, thanks so much for, I've been circling back to the TRN world, so thanks for having me, Michael. I own a graphic design and creative direction company, Hagopian Inc., my last name. Although the business is much larger than myself, I have a lot of creative partners and technical partners that I utilize quite frequently, and are an extension of our team. Right now, we're working on several new branding initiatives, as well as a couple of websites. One in particular is for a medical device company and manufacturing. Another is through Alan Winikoff, where it's a medical app. So I'm kind of dangling in the healthcare space right now. I would say that I have a lot of experience in the luxury and e-commerce world. We also specialize in email marketing. That's why I'm kind of fishing for some trends that could lead to some email focus for the end of this discussion. The three verticals to remember me for are brand development, email design and development and strategy, and website design in particular. I always use partners for the development side. That's why Michael and I have connected for many years in that space.
Yeah, and Christina does beautiful work. And the Alan Winikoff thing actually came from another member of TRN, Peter Nemi.
Yes.
Peter asked me, there's some guy who does PR and tech. And so I connected him with Alan, and Alan connected with you. So
yes,
it's a virtuous circle. And another interesting thing about Christina is she is daring to build a house from ground up in Hyannisport.
We are about to close on our land Friday, so it's both exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Christina,
really.
quick question. Do you work on pitch decks?
I have worked on pitch decks in the past. I wouldn't say it's a specialty, but we can certainly, see if we can help.
Gotcha. And do you also help clients develop their identity kit?
That we do. We do that all the time. Any sort of brand development and style guide and brand guides, that's like our bread and butter.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. We should definitely talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Yeah, connect. Well, Rajiv usually puts his information in the chat. Everybody should do that. Also, if you remember the person's name or their business, look them up on TRN. Soon you'll be able to search by name. Okay, Ken, you're up.
There we go. Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy holidays as well. Ken Simon, KBS Marketing. I work with small and mid-sized companies, helping them understand who their customers are, what their needs are, and then developing the appropriate strategies for them to use to go after those customers and grow their business. It can be anywhere from content marketing, email campaigns, digital campaigns, market research, to help them understand what products and services to offer a user experience. I also work with companies helping them develop marketing plans, or I think I said that, and business plans if they're raising capital. Most of the companies I work with are in B2B space, but I have been working lately with a lot of B2C companies or B2B2C. And in the financial services, technology, the service sector, manufacturing. So I've spread my wings because of COVID. I realized I don't have to stay in the New York metro area. So I've been getting clients outside of the New York area right now. So it seems to be where most of my clients are. So that's who I am and what I do.
New Zealand Rocket Company is the one that comes to mind.
Australia, but we're having Just so you know, Rochelle does pitch decks in, yeah, the rocket company, that's my interesting one, but that we'll see how long that continues. They're trying to raise capital, so I'm not sure. They need to raise multi-billions, millions of dollars for what they want to do. But anyway, I've been working with companies around the world now.
So they haven't quite gotten to the launch pad. So you might want to look up Catalent, C-A-T-A-L-A-N-T. They're a network of gigs, and I've seen on their, it's a network of consultants. And I've seen on their listings requests for people to write business plans.
What was it called again? I'm sorry.
Catalent, C-A-T-A-L-A-N-T. I mean, this might be relevant to, they're focused more on consulting. So typically it's not a marketing type of request, but oftentimes there's research or, market surveys, things like that. And if you have any questions about them, I can connect you or give you the URL.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Victor, then Keith.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all these familiar faces. I think I've had pretty extensive conversations with pretty much just about everybody on this call. So, which is good because, my situation is a little bit more abstract and creative. So it's good that Michael's assembled a group of smart folks here. He was referring earlier, my strategy is built around what's called, I call the fox and the hedgehog. And it's a concept that comes out of an ancient Greek philosopher named Archilochus. And the idea is that a lot of you may have heard this already. A hedgehog knows one thing and the fox knows many things. And the way I apply it is I look for hedgehog situations, something interesting, unusual, unique. And then I turn to my network of foxes, which I include kind of everybody on this call and in TRN, to help find a solution. And the ultimate goal is to say, oh, we know somebody, right? So for example, I had a friend call me up one day, just out of the blue, and said, hey, I'm doing this project for an Ivy League university. I need some help. Do you know anybody? Right. So I dragged Rajiv into that project. I've got probably the most interesting thing that kind of along these lines is I was actually on another networking call when a woman raised her hand in part of the introduction. She said, does anybody know how to make bad stuff go away on the internet? Right? And let's face it, it doesn't really get any easier than that. So we connected her with Rajiv, and we made a pitch because, she's involved in some pretty nasty litigation. And so, we're trying to help her, make that go away. The craziest situation I'm working on right now is I was on another networking call with a bunch of folks, and somebody in the course of the introduction, she was an African-American businesswoman in Atlanta. And she said, sorry, this is not politically correct. She said, I'm looking to buy some gun shops in Atlanta. Can anybody help me? And I said, yep, I can help you with that. And I had actually done some work for shall we say, the Firearms Trade Association a number of years ago. I was the executive producer of a video that we had done. And so I put her in touch with some of my contacts from the firearms industry. And I'm always a little bit, question about, working in what are often called the pariah industries. But on the other, and not to seem too mercenary, but on the other hand, I'm looking for situations where, as in that one, we sold them 2 3-minute videos. 2 3-minute videos. We charged them $60,000. So, and this was about 5 years ago. So, so I'm just looking for, so if you ever stumble across a situation, you need to connect with a certain type of person, you don't know who it might be, feel free to give me a call, drop me an email. And right away, I'll either say, yep, I know somebody, or I'll say, sorry, that kind of falls outside my network. But I do know the strangest group of people, obviously present company accepted, and would be happy to put you in touch with somebody if I can make a connection. And as I like to say, I try to make connections for fun and profit.
Very good. And you want to tell us, you're still working hard, I guess, on the trivia?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is another project that Michael has been very helpful on, which is I found a guy who, thanks to Rajiv, who can turn a Zoom call into an online game show. Because we know not all Zoom calls are as entertaining and interesting as this one. So what he does is, like, for corporate events, nonprofits, and so on, he essentially turns the Zoom call into a trivia event. So he hosts them, but the questions are often asked by, he has puppets, cartoons, musical questions, and all these kinds of things. And then so as part of my whole gestalt here is then Rochelle, listener, whom I think Ken had referenced, introduced me to a guy who does events for nonprofits, and he helps them with the fundraising. So they're very interested. They want to take us to people like, the Boy Scouts, Breast Cancer Research, New York School of Industrial Design. And so by the same token, Michael's introduced us to another guy who specializes in internal meetings, internal communications. So that's a whole nother market where essentially by making one introduction, we've tapped into a whole new market of folks. So it's just really coming along very nicely. And, as Nikki said, like she does with her business, essentially anybody who helps me put these deals together then participates in the commissions. So that's the plan. And, I'm always looking for interesting situations, or looking for people who want to play and say, where I can sit down and say, here's the 5 things I'm working on. Do you know anybody? Right. So the traffic and the information can certainly flow both ways.
Always good to sit down with Victor and exchange connections and knowledge, etc.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Keith Reynolds, you're up.
Hello, everybody. How are you today? Greetings from Sarasota, Florida. I've had a good week down here. I spent 3 days at the John and Mabel Ringling Museum, and it's like going to the Breakers and combining that with New York City Museum. If you have the chance, come down and check out the Ringling Museum. So I am the founder and CEO of Publio. My background, I guess, would be considered as a CMO, fractional CMO. I got my early training at IBM in demand generation and driving people into their retail strategy, getting people into college bookstores, and everything I learned there I've since applied to the internet since 1994, developing campaigns and helping create content experiences. And when the pandemic hit, my full-time job turned into a 20% job, and what I'm about to show you is what I've done in the last 18 months, and it's finally all coming together. So if I could share my screen.
You should be able to.
About 6-7 years ago, I was working with an agency for Kodak, and we built a program called Chief Packaging Officer, and it was a content-only website. It was a standalone blog, basically, with a editorial calendar run like a magazine, and we packaged it up so that it was affordable and it was a repeatable, definable process for them, and we generated so much pipeline that they were able to sell the division at the end of just over a year for 8 times the original offer, because they had $57 million in the sales pipeline. And that made me realize, today media is being done by brands, and it's the same process that a Malcolm Forbes or an Ariana Huffington would do to launch a publication, but instead of selling advertising, you're selling lead generation, just like we did to drive people into a bookstore. And so when I was with IBM. And so I had to do a presentation for the AMA, and I came up with these 7 items that if you focus on those and get executives to just sign off on these 7 things, you'll have a successful program. And that led me about 3 years ago to publish a book where I wrote about the experience in a little Who Moved My Cheese kind of book to explain to people the value of creating an online publication from a enterprise value perspective. There's an ROI to grow your business. And what I've done is continued to be a fractional CMO For larger organizations, I have a turnkey content strategy building on those 7 buckets, and then a way to help get your team all organized around those. I do workshops for individuals and solopreneurs. I find that marketing therapy is a great offering because it's open-ended and they're trying to find direction on new ideas. I have a masterclass I'll show you in a minute. And then some one-off consulting, but really I'm trying to look for workshops and consulting engagements. Our website is an example of what you get as an output, and this is a client that has 80 employees, and they went from having a very mechanical, functional website that had no content to launching with expertise for the agility economy. We now are doing a blog, and we've partnered with the Family Office Association. We have a media deal going where we supply content and they supply distribution. So I'm really getting involved in how do you make the backlinking, if you will, in internet speak, work from a professional standpoint by appearing on each other's podcasts and things like that. I have my own podcast, which I've started about 6 weeks ago, and it's been a lot of fun. I interview business owners and thought leaders, and really get their insights. As if you're an executive with P&L responsibility, what is it that you look for, and how do you use media, and how does it serve your interests? And then my master class, which is right here. When you log in, is really an overview of the 7 buckets with the whys and why-fors of each of the 7 buckets. And what I would like to do with that is start something. We're toying with the idea of Publio X, and for $49, it's a month. It's a place where people who are working on content strategy can come and be in a community with others who you'd be able to go into a virtual workspace and have one-on-one meetings. We'll have office hours. And when I hear people talk about the metaverse, it's really about turning what we now do as Zoom into a space like this. So you can have presentations that is live and interactive content. So if I'm the presenter, now you can see me live, and that becomes part of the website experience. I really think that the metaverse is actually here today. You don't need to be in virtual reality. You can have a website that has this kind of interactivity as people get further and further into the relationship with you. So that's my presentation, and appreciate you letting me share that with you. And if I can help you or a client in any way, would love to work with you. Thanks.
So is Brian your brother?
Brian Reynolds is my brother, and we had a web development company in the late 90s and launched a .com together.
Very cool. Very cool. All right.
I actually have a question for Keith.
Sure.
Is your company also a content development agency? Are you producing content for others, or is it for the projects you're working on?
I am doing some content development. I've had a partner that was similar to your firm, and they have succumbed to the pandemic. And that's why I was interested in how you work with people, because
Sure.
I've done content at scale, very SEO compliant. My input is more as the CMO, making sure from a process and scheduling standpoint that the publication is on time. And I reach out to others to be the SEO and development needs as well.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Keith, are you using Gary Heyman's product, the Ink product?
Yes.
You are. Okay. Cool.
I have used that. SEMrush and Ink are the tools when we're doing our own writing.
Right.
I would like to offer that service, but I think you have to really look at what your natural talent is, and mine is in helping people develop strategies and then getting people to adopt those. So it's a training and development is where I really love to work with people, and everything on my website is around that core skill set. And I'm trying to, any one of you on this call, I could probably partner with.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
And so I haven't missed anybody, right? Good. So I will put the timer on for myself. So you all know me, Michael Bendit. I want to show you a project that we just won. It's with a small company that does expediting services for passports and license plates. And they have a business where they provide expediting information by state to on licenses and license plates for dealerships. And I'm going to share their screen of what their system looks like now. So you can see it's like 1980s style. And the way it works now is, I'm not sure unless I log in, I can't show you, but each of the states in this case has a one pager. It's a PDF, and it's a very awkward system. And they have to update it. The only way to update it is by calling the developer and asking them to update a PDF. They could do it themselves, but it's just complicated. And also they want to be charging the dealers that have signed up to have access to this data, but this system doesn't do it. So we quoted them a rebuild of this on WordPress that will be a more traditional content management system where they will be able to much more easily manage each of the state's rules and regulations, and the user will be able to print it out in a PDF, and they will also be charged after, I think, a free trial for like 3 months. After that period, they'll be charged a fee, so that will pay it back. And that total project is $7,000. So, clearly not a huge investment, but it should, return very quickly what they paid out, because they'll be able to charge their clients. So this is it's not a marketing application, of course. It's more of a core business application for the client. It's on the web. That's about, 40% of what we do. The other type of work that we do is more traditional marketing type stuff, WordPress sites, e-commerce sites using the platforms that are most common, like, as I said, WordPress and Shopify. We do Magento, which is another big, well-known, now owned by Adobe, e-commerce platform. And then we do custom builds as well. Best leads for me in this world are digital marketing agencies. We partner very well with them because we focus on the technical aspects rather than the design and strategy, and leave that part for the partner to take the lead on. So, they often come to us because they don't have those internal resources to do the specific work on the specific platforms, or even if they have those internal resources and have the experience, they just have more work than they can handle. So we do overflow work as well. And we're able to do that and enable them to mark it up, because most of my teams, or most of the work that we do, is with my dual shore team. So the developers are mostly offshore. So the rates are, it's sort of a hybrid model. So the rates are somewhere about $60 to $70 an hour, as opposed to 150, which is sort of onshore rates. So Christina, I don't know if everybody was here when she brought this up, and since we've got a fair amount of time left over, Christina had asked if we could brainstorm on something that she's coming up with. Christina, do you want to restate what your question is?
So you're helping me with homework. I have been invited to be a part of an infographic for leading email marketing experts in the country. Actually, it's global. It's a global company that I partner with for development. and they're looking for ideas and about what are the trends for 2022. I mean, this infographic is specifically for email. I don't expect you to have email expertise in this, but if you could share some of the trends that you're seeing in general, then I can start to brainstorm how I can link them to email marketing. But maybe what you're seeing in the e-commerce platforms, what you're seeing for user focus, what you're seeing for where people are spending or trending, anything in those categories could help me brainstorm solutions for the application and email.
One thing that I'm doing, I think I've mentioned to a number of people, I'm starting an outreach program via organic outreach. A guy who's a member of our group now. And one of the things that I learned that I wasn't aware of, and maybe it's old hat, but if you're doing cold outreach, you don't want to burn your email, your URLs by having it identified as spam. You need to warm up those emails.
Right.
And there are tools that do that for you. Fascinating. I find it fascinating, but
so are you talking about the IP warming process?
Yeah, I think it's the URL. So
right.
Yeah, it's sort of a network of people that are looking to do the same thing, and the system automatically sends emails between members of the network.
Oh, interesting. Do you know what the service is?
Yeah, well, there's a few of them. I'm using one called, give me a sec. Marketing, it's called Warm Up Inbox.
Oh, okay. I don't know that service.
Yeah, here, I'll show you what my dashboard looks like. So I'm using trustref.cc. So you create new URLs. And it will tell you, for example, how many were sent today, how many received, inbox this week, and then it'll give you, all of those that were sent out. And these are, of course, it's automated, and these are scheduled. It goes up by like 2 a day or something like that, and you can see very few of them landed in spam.
Right.
So I have a very good score, 8 out of 10. But there are other similar services. This one is pretty cheap. I think it's like $5 per email per month.
Right. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little in the gray box area, the gray hat area, obviously, because you're using cold emails, which probably violates all sorts of
we
spam
don't
rules.
do that, Michael. We don't buy lists. We don't do that.
We generate lists anyway.
This then warms up the I don't know what to call them, bots
the URL,
that monitor and say identify spam heavy IP addresses.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I was going to mention, although I have no idea how it relates to email, is what they call Web3, which is using blockchain in the web world for all sorts of different types of applications. Maybe it's just terminology that's different, or new, but I think we're going to hear more and more about Web3 or similar terminology about blockchain applications.
Yeah, Christina, I had a couple thoughts. I mean, I'm not an email expert by any means. I can barely open email. But
you can open all my email.
Okay. So, well, you always have something interesting to say. So, but from a macro point of view, right? From my perspective, you keep seeing these in this sort of zeitgeist saying, okay, every couple of years people say email is dead, and then it comes back, and then they say email is dead, right? And so, but it seems like there's a potentially like a macroeconomic wave going into 2022, because I think over at this Thanksgiving there was a blip where it seemed like e-commerce revenues were fairly flat from last year. And so everybody's saying, oh, now everyone's going back to things in real life. And I think that, and so if that were to continue, right, then that could have an impact on e-commerce. which wouldn't be good for emails. But my thought is that I think it was a one-time blip because people just wanted to get out of the house, right? And go back to, shopping in real life. And then also because now that we've got the second new variant for this year, right? Delta was in the spring and now we've got this. I think people are going to kind of retreat back to, shopping from home and doing things
That's
from
a
home.
really interesting point of like how to tie the COVID, shopping behavior trends back to, behaviors and
E-commerce, yeah.
hold on, my dog needs to go outside and she won't go out without me and we have to convince her. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so are you seeing that people were for last year, once like everything opened up, they
Right.
started to shop even if they were masked?
Right.
And now that the variant is coming again, do you think you're seeing that there might be some more e-commerce play for the holidays?
I think so. So I think that
It might be red or blue states, depending.
probably, yes, that's certainly true as well. But I think over the next few weeks, you're going to see people retreat back to staying home. And then, then they're going to be looking to email, right, to see, what are the deals and opportunities. And so, and that could really be a strong trend, and even in the next 3 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Black Friday, Cyber Monday did. What your feelings were in your inbox. Was the volume increased or decreased? Did you see any significant? I saw some serious deals coming across, and also in the Facebook ads leading to my email inbox as well. I saw a lot of cross social promotions as well.
I can't really say I saw that much. I saw email, things, but nothing great. Nothing that knocked my socks off, and nothing that was like screaming, "You got to buy now." It just wasn't that aggressive this year. And then I also heard, just so you know, on the news that the store trends for Black Friday were down this year for the first time.
Interesting. Okay.
So I don't know about Cyber Monday, but
They probably don't have the results yet.
this is the first decline in store traffic for Black Friday.
I sit on 2 boards, and we've started having discussions about reeling in live events that we were planning to have, and that it's really, for anything scientific to be understood about this new variant, it's going to take 2 weeks. So I think everyone's in a holding pattern. I'd also say this morning there was an interesting discussion on Morning Joe about, the cork is out of the bottle. New York City's in full swing right now. I went down for a holiday party. You had to show your vaccine card to get in to the facility. But New York City was cooking, and the banter was, it's going to be hard to put that cork back in a bottle, and people are feeling pretty confident. We have a high vaccine rate, and unless people start filling up the hospitals, I think we're on a roll, and people are tired of being locked up.
Right. So, I do see that.
The other thing I just wanted to ask you, Christine, I'm sorry, Veronica, did you say you're looking for some research? Because I'm in the middle of a research project, and I'm happy to share, the raw findings with you.
Yeah, I would love to figure out how we can tie some of the research of trends for e-commerce, trends for shopping, trends for how people give donations. Those are all things that we use email for quite frequently in my business.
That's what I thought I heard you ask, and I just wanted to make sure.
Because I think then if I looked at something where it's like this is the trend that we're heading, then I could figure out how we could react in a way from a strategic side on the email development.
I have 2 Get Your Marketing Plan for 2022 classes coming up.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm in the middle of researching stuff, so I can share the raw, things I find with you, and then you can do your own interpretation.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, my deadline is tight by the end of the week, but if you have anything initially, that would be fantastic.
My first one is Thursday, so
even better.
Okay.
Nikki, you're going to say something?
Yeah, this is totally anecdotal. It's not data driven, but what we're seeing with some of our clients is an upswing in traffic from email marketing and a downward shift from some of their social activity, from Facebook in particular. And I think part of that is because people are mad at Facebook right now. And so again, it's not, I don't have any data behind this. It's just observations at this point in time, but maybe a little digging would reveal more to that trend as being the tip of something.
It's interesting that you say that, because I had a handful of friends close their account after all of the Facebook data was revealed. I kind of feel like it was the straw that broke the camel's back, because we knew that this was happening for so many years. And then it was more of like, okay, I've had enough,
It's that tipping point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but as far as impacting email, while I see social activity going down, I see email marketing in some of our clients. Google Analytics is on an uptick.
That's great.
It's not necessarily that the clients are doing more or better email marketing. It's just that seems to, and again, it's worth investigating, but I don't have data.
Yeah, that sort of leads to or speaks to this issue of trust factor or ick factor. Which platforms are you most comfortable with, and which ones are you sort of beginning to get turned off by? For one reason or another.
The changes in the Apple ecosystem are driving changes industry-wide, and you're also seeing a lot of chatter around Web 3.0, where you now own the keys to your castle, and control who can talk to you, Apple or anyone else. So I think that's email will certainly benefit from that.
Are you talking about the change in Apple's
cookie policy
opt-in for the cookies?
Yes, and then also the sharing of information within apps, and and then the data that people had to use to do marketing with is being minimized. And then Web 3.0, where you're not going through a third party intermediary like Facebook or Instagram. You create your own experience and you connect with people and you control that connection. That's really where Web 3.0 is going.
Yeah.
Like, are you thinking in terms of the apps like TikTok and the other where you are the experience?
Or being able to set up your own. I mean, ultimately, the metaverse is about setting up your own environment and inviting people in and making connections to those that you trust, and using crypto to make transactions and to have avatars and all of that. And it extends all the way out to wearing a headset. Like I showed on mine, I don't think you have to have that headset, but within your website, if you need to talk to the accounting department, why shouldn't you and I use our website as the dial pad to talk to somebody in the company? Right? So I think that is the essence of Web 3.0. It's then, what technologies underlie it will be driving a lot of the privacy issues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. With the whole Apple cookies, we're now seeing click rate is the new open rate, because now we can't necessarily see who's opening things, but the action of clicking and converting is still our metric of what are people engaging with.
Right.
So
that's all that really matters, right?
That's exactly what we were all saying anyway. We kept on, when in internal industry discussions, sometimes people are paid by the open rate for certain conversions, but it's truly about what is selling and what are people clicking on. That's the real metric of success.
I've said for I don't know, 7 or 8 years that engagements for lightweights.
That's a great quote.
Wonderful. I hope this has been enlightening, and we don't charge you for the tutoring for your homework.
No, this was great. It also just helped like start to generate where I should be looking and where I should be thinking about. And that was super helpful. I'm really appreciative of having great minds in the room. So thank you.
If I could invite any, I mean, this has been a very thought leading kind of discussion, and I'd love to have any one of you on my podcast.
Oh, I'd love that.
Absolutely. Hit me up.
Okay.
And hit up Nikki too, even though she hasn't spoken up or she's on mute, but she's got a lot to say, I'm sure.
Hit me up.
Great. And I want to talk to you not only as a supplier, but I want to talk to you all as a business owner too. Like, how do you use the media? How do you allocate resources? What's your ROI?
Right.
Very cool.
All right, great. Thank you so much. And Ken, let's connect on the WordPress opportunity.
Okay, I'll give you a call later today. I'll set up like something later today, tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Have a
you.
great
Everybody,
evening.
everyone.
contact
Bye.
info in chat.
What's that?
Nikki?
You could
Christina,
find
I
Nikki.
think I have yours.
Nikki, you could find
Yes,
under
mine's in there.
digital brand expressions. Look up the word expressions under TrustRef.
It's great. I'm downloading the chat now. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.